Think about what happens to your body every single night while you close your eyes and drift off to sleep. Most people assume that sleep is just rest, just a pause, a blank space between one day and the next. But the truth is something far more extraordinary is unfolding inside you during those quiet hours. Your body doesn't stop when you sleep. It actually shifts into its most powerful mode, repairing damage, rebuilding tissue, balancing hormones, clearing toxins from the brain, and restoring the systems that keep you alive and functioning. Sleep is not a break from living. It is, in many ways, the most important work your body ever does. And here's the part that most people never think about. What you do in the final 30 minutes before you close your eyes determines how well that entire repair process actually works. That's not a small detail. That's everything. Because if your body's nighttime systems are running on empty, or if the conditions aren't right, all of that repair work becomes slower, less complete, and less effective. You wake up feeling heavy, foggy, or tired even after a full night of sleep. You go through your day feeling like something is just slightly off even though you can't quite name what it is. Your energy dips in the afternoon for no clear reason. You catch every seasonal bug that passes through your office or home. You feel like your body is working against you rather than for you. And the frustrating part is that most people never connect those feelings to what they did or didn't do before bed. They just accept it as normal. But it doesn't have to be. What if the answer wasn't a complicated supplement routine, not an expensive wellness product with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce? Not a prescription, not some late-night infomercial miracle cure, but something so simple, so accessible, and so affordable that it's probably already sitting in your kitchen right now? What if two of the most ancient, most studied, most powerfully effective natural ingredients on the planet could quietly and consistently support your body's overnight repair work, night after night? Without side effects, without expense, and without changing a single other thing about your life? We're talking about raw honey and raw garlic. And before you roll your eyes or skip ahead, stay with this, because what these two ingredients actually do together, especially when taken right before bed, goes so far beyond what most people imagine that it might genuinely change how you think about your health. Let's begin with the most basic and most urgent layer of all, your immune system. Every single day, your body is quietly fighting battles you never even know about. Bacteria, viruses, environmental irritants, and pathogens are constantly knocking at the door, and your immune system is the gatekeeper deciding what gets in and what gets stopped. When that gatekeeper is strong, well-fed, and alert, most of those threats never become problems. When it's depleted, underfueled, or exhausted, even minor challenges can become full-blown illnesses that knock you off your feet for days. Garlic, when you crush it raw and allow it to rest for about 10 minutes, releases one of the most studied natural compounds in the entire field of nutritional science. This compound, known as allicin, is formed through a chemical reaction the moment the cells of the garlic clove are disrupted. It doesn't exist in whole, uncut garlic. The crushing activates it, and once activated, it becomes a powerful agent your immune system can actually use. Research into allicin has been ongoing for decades, and the picture that emerges is genuinely impressive. It helps support the body's natural ability to respond to bacterial and viral activity, not by replacing your immune system's work, but by amplifying it and giving it tools to operate more effectively. At the same time, raw honey, particularly unfiltered varieties that haven't been heat-treated or processed, brings its own extraordinary immune support to the table. Raw honey contains a rich profile of antioxidants, enzymes, and naturally occurring compounds that help protect cells from oxidative stress, which is essentially the wear and tear caused by your body's own metabolic processes. These antioxidants support immune readiness by ensuring your body's defense systems aren't constantly overwhelmed by internal damage. When you combine these two together before bed, you're essentially sending your immune system into the night's repair window with reinforcements already in place. Over weeks and months of consistent use, many people report that seasonal colds and respiratory issues feel less frequent and less severe. A scratchy throat that might once have spiraled into something more serious begins to calm down faster. Your body simply feels more defended. Now here's something that genuinely surprises most people when they hear it, and it's something that doesn't get talked about enough in wellness conversations. Your heart doesn't rest while you sleep. In fact, cardiovascular health is profoundly connected to your nighttime biology, and the quality of what you're doing for your cardiovascular system in the hours before bed matters more than most people realize. Garlic has been the subject of extensive research specifically related to heart and blood vessel function. One of its most important documented effects is its ability to support arterial flexibility. Think of your blood vessels the way you'd think about a garden hose. A new, flexible hose lets water flow freely and evenly with very little resistance. Over time, a hose that's been sitting in the sun exposed to pressure and left without care starts to stiffen. When blood vessels stiffen, your heart has to work harder to push blood through, and that strain, accumulated over years, contributes to a range of cardiovascular challenges. Garlic helps support the kind of flexibility in arterial walls that keeps blood flowing the way it's supposed to. But there's another dimension to this that makes the honey and garlic combination particularly valuable for cardiovascular health, and that dimension is inflammation. Not the acute, visible kind of inflammation that you feel when you twist an ankle. The slow, quiet, chronic kind that builds up over years without obvious symptoms. The kind that doctors increasingly recognize as one of the root contributors to cardiovascular stress. Both garlic and raw honey have been studied for their capacity to help the body manage this type of low-level systemic inflammation. Honey brings its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Garlic brings allicin and a family of sulfur compounds that help modulate the body's inflammatory response. Together, before bed, when your body is doing its overnight healing, this support can help your cardiovascular system rest and recover more fully than it might otherwise. You're not just sleeping, you're actively giving your heart and blood vessels what they need to function better tomorrow. Let's talk about energy, because this is often the first place people notice a tangible shift when they begin this habit consistently. The kind of energy we're describing isn't the jittery, artificial buzz of a stimulant. It's the deep, sustained, grounded vitality that comes from a body that's actually running well. The kind of energy where you wake up and genuinely feel ready to start your day rather than bargaining with yourself for 5 more minutes under the covers. The kind where that brutal, soul-crushing afternoon crash at 2 or 3 o'clock simply doesn't hit you the way it used to. Garlic contributes to this by supporting healthy circulation. When blood moves efficiently and oxygen reaches your muscles and tissues the way it's supposed to, your body doesn't have to work nearly as hard to perform the same tasks. You feel less fatigued by ordinary effort. Recovery after physical activity, whether that's a workout, a long workday, or just chasing kids around the house, begins to feel quicker and less demanding. Honey plays its own critical role in the energy picture. Its natural sugars, primarily fructose and glucose in a form that the body processes differently from refined sugars, provide a slow and steady source of accessible energy. When you consume raw honey before bed, your liver uses some of that energy to sustain itself through the overnight fasting period, which prevents the stress response that can disrupt sleep quality and leave you depleted in the morning. Many people who begin this habit describe a subtle but unmistakable shift in how they feel after a few weeks. They don't feel dramatically different overnight, but they begin to notice that they're more present throughout the day. They're getting through demanding afternoons without feeling hollowed out. They're less likely to reach for a second coffee just to get through the last few hours before dinner. The cumulative effect of consistently supporting your body's overnight energy systems is something that takes time to fully appreciate, but once you feel it, it's genuinely hard to ignore. Here's something that connects the physical and the emotional in a way that most people don't expect when they first hear about this combination: mood. Not just feeling better in a vague motivational poster kind of way. Actual, measurable, biological support for the brain chemistry that determines how you feel when you wake up, how you handle stress throughout the day, and how balanced and grounded your emotional life feels. Honey is one of the few foods that has been studied in connection with serotonin production. Serotonin, often called the feel-good neurotransmitter, is a chemical your brain produces that plays a central role in mood regulation, emotional balance, and the ability to handle stress without being overwhelmed by it. The connection between honey and serotonin isn't a direct one, but the precursors and supporting elements present in raw honey appear to create conditions in the body that support the natural production process. When you consistently wake up with a more balanced neurochemical environment, the entire texture of your day begins to feel different. Garlic contributes to this picture through a different pathway. Its support for the body's ability to manage inflammatory responses that affect not just the body but also the brain. There's a growing body of scientific literature around the concept of neuroinflammation, the idea that chronic low-level inflammation in the body doesn't stay confined to your joints or your arteries, but actually travels to your brain, where it can contribute to cognitive fog, irritability, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of mental heaviness. When garlic helps your body keep that inflammatory burden in check, you're not just helping your joints feel less stiff or your blood move more freely. You're also creating a clearer, calmer environment for your brain to operate in. The mild aches, the background tension your muscles seem to carry without any specific cause. And the mental fog that makes it hard to focus by mid-afternoon, all of these can begin to ease when the inflammatory load in your body is consistently and gently supported. None of what's been described so far works optimally without a third, often overlooked system, your gut. And this is where the timing of this bedtime habit becomes especially significant. Your digestive system follows its own biological clock, and the late night and early overnight hours represent a peak window of activity for the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your gut that influence everything from how well you absorb nutrients to how your immune system is calibrated to how clearly you think and how well you sleep. Raw honey is a natural prebiotic, meaning it contains compounds that serve as fuel for the beneficial bacteria already living in your gut. It doesn't just introduce more bacteria the way a probiotic does. It feeds and supports the ones you already have, giving them what they need to thrive, multiply, and outcompete the less helpful organisms that can otherwise take over. When your beneficial bacteria are flourishing, your gut lining stays healthy, inflammation stays lower, and nutrient absorption improves dramatically. Garlic contributes its own kind of gut magic. It contains a compound called inulin, a type of prebiotic fiber that specifically supports the growth of beneficial bacterial strains, including those associated with better digestion, reduced bloating, and more efficient metabolism. Together, honey and garlic create a prebiotic environment in your gut that actively improves the quality of work your digestive system does while you sleep. And when digestion improves at this fundamental level, something fascinating happens. The food you eat during the day actually starts working better for you. Nutrients that were passing through without being fully absorbed begin to enter your system the way they're supposed to. Your body uses what you give it more efficiently. Your metabolism responds. Your energy improves not just because of the garlic and honey themselves, but also because your entire internal ecosystem is functioning with greater precision and balance. There is one more piece to this picture, and it's one that most people would never connect to a bedtime health habit, but that becomes undeniable after a few weeks of consistent practice. Your skin. While you sleep, your body prioritizes repair work at the cellular level, and one of the most active repair processes during this overnight window is the production and rebuilding of collagen. Collagen is the structural protein that gives your skin its elasticity, its firmness, its ability to bounce back and maintain its texture and tone. As we age, collagen production slows naturally, but the rate at which it slows is significantly influenced by things like oxidative stress, inflammation, and nutritional gaps, all of which the honey and garlic combination actively addresses. Honey brings a collection of compounds, including natural enzymes and antioxidants, that support the skin's own repair mechanisms from the inside. It helps reduce the oxidative damage that breaks down collagen prematurely and supports the kind of deep hydration that starts at the cellular level rather than just on the surface. Garlic's contribution to skin health comes primarily through its supportive circulation and its cellular-level antioxidant activity. When blood is flowing well and reaching the tiny capillaries that supply skin tissue with oxygen and nutrients, your skin's ability to repair and renew itself accelerates. The dullness, the uneven texture, and the slow healing from minor irritations, all of these can gradually improve when the underlying conditions your skin relies on for repair are consistently supported. People who've maintained this habit for a month or more often describe their skin as feeling more resilient, more hydrated from within, and less reactive to the environmental stressors that used to cause flare-ups or sensitivity. It's not an overnight transformation, but it is a real and compounding effect that starts with your body's natural biology and simply gives it what it needs to do the work it was already designed to do. So how do you actually do this? The preparation is simple enough that it genuinely takes less than 2 minutes, but the details matter because they're what preserve the effectiveness of these ingredients. Start with 1 raw garlic clove and crush it. Don't slice it, don't dice it, don't mince it finely. Crush it, because crushing is what triggers the enzymatic reaction that produces allicin. Then here's the step most people skip. Let it sit. Leave the crushed garlic exposed to air for about 10 minutes. This resting period allows the allicin to fully form and stabilize. If you heat it, blend it immediately, or skip this waiting window, you significantly reduce the concentration of the active compound you're trying to harness. After the 10 minutes are up, combine that crushed garlic with 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered honey. The honey should be the kind that still looks slightly cloudy or opaque, not the perfectly clear, processed kind that's had its beneficial enzymes and compounds removed by high-temperature processing. Take this mixture about 30 minutes before you plan to sleep, and do it consistently. Not once or twice when you remember. Every night, as a non-negotiable part of your evening wind down. The timeline for results varies from person to person, and that's important to understand so you don't abandon the habit before it has time to show you what it can do. Some people notice changes in their sleep quality within the first week. Others begin to feel energy differences around the 2-week mark. Skin changes tend to take longer, often a month or more of consistent use before they become clearly noticeable. Immune system effects are sometimes only apparent in retrospect, when you realize that the seasonal bug everyone around you got somehow passed you by this time, or that the sore throat you felt coming on last week seemed to resolve itself in a day rather than dragging on for 2. The key is consistency. This isn't a medicine that works acutely in a single dose. It's a nightly investment in the quality of your body's repair work, and its power compounds over time in the same way that any consistently good habit does. What makes this combination so remarkable isn't that either ingredient is a miracle on its own. It's that they work together through multiple different biological pathways simultaneously, addressing immunity, cardiovascular function, energy, mood, gut health, and skin repair all at the same time, all during the window when your body is already doing the lion's share of its restorative work. Most health interventions target one system. This one supports many, quietly, consistently, and with a safety profile that no synthetic compound could ever claim. Thousands of years of use across dozens of cultures preceded the scientific research that now backs up what those ancient traditions seemed to know intuitively, that the most powerful tools for human health are often the ones that nature placed closest to us. You don't need to overhaul your life to feel genuinely better in it. Sometimes the shift is smaller than you think, and the results are bigger than you could have imagined. Crush 1 clove. Add 1 teaspoon. Take it 30 minutes before bed. Then sleep well, knowing your body is doing something extraordinary in the dark.